That date went so awful, dude. I can't believe I told them I play Smash and that I've never won anything. Wait, OnlyNoobs? A noob tournament? Online? And people like me can win it? Wait, what the fuck? OnlyNoobs is an online new player tournament intended for newer players as well as those who are experienced but don't really have the results to put them above everyone else. Now, I personally have entered for 95 weeks. I ended up winning in OnlyNoobs 140, but because I've played in so many OnlyNoobs or watched so many streams, I figured I could make a little video series on all the parts or top grand finals that I really enjoyed. We have some players who got here because of the culture, because they had an impact, because they were there every week and people knew them, but we also had grand finals that are more about the strength of the competitors and the tech skill and everything else that goes into it. So I think there's a pretty good variety here, and I hope you all enjoy checking it out. Also want to give a shout out to Forrest versus Rye Guy, who had a recent grand finals that was a little too recent to really make the cut for the video, but I still think it's worth checking out. All the VOD links should be in the video description. If you would like to get access to newsletters and VODs in the future, please sign up for the Cadence newsletter. You can do that by doing !OnlyNoobs in the OnlyNoobs Discord server. The first players of the day are Archelaos and Catastrophe. Archelaos had been entering since OnlyNoobs 72 and entered really consistently, 68 OnlyNoob attempts. While Catastrophe entered a few, was more of a chatter, and both players ended up being increasingly known as grinders. Archelaos was more of a grinder in OnlyNoobs, while Catastrophe would grind elsewhere. And so this grand finals was kind of the culmination of Archelaos, who was always kind of notoriously improving, talking about never the same Sheik as last time with like a Goku gif, while Catastrophe was kind of someone who grinded with good players. So it was a really interesting finals to see between these two. It's worth taking a look at the head-to-head between these two players a little more in-depth. So, Archelaos had won their initial 4 sets. However, Catastrophe won the previous week's set, and the previous OnlyNoobs, 2-0. And so there was this uncertain dynamic of, is Catastrophe going to figure the matchup out? Is Archelaos going to continue the edge? These types of questions could be asked during the set. Now, Archelaos was also a training partner of Jack and OnlyNoobs Marth, who commonly got lessons from Kadoran, who had won at OnlyNoobs 137, and so this matchup was certainly not unfamiliar to Archelaos.
Ooh, wow, the dash grab actually missed, I think. You could select 2 lows.
As the Marth unfortunately SDs again, we see Catastrophe falling behind in a way that looks a little insurmountable. She's going to keep trying to fight her way back, but this might be looking like a game 2.
Wow. Bit of a flex here. Are we really going to kill off that? Alright.
I asked Archelaos about his training process for this tournament, and he told me, I took the time to really train up by heading to the New York City nightclub local, and even won the redemption bracket for the first time, which increased my mental immensely. It felt like the final breakthrough I needed.
Oh, if that was an upper, that would have been insane extension. Is this our cheerleaders really different Sheik from last week? Huge damage here. I don't know if any Sheik is good at it. You have to grab ledge or be prepared for that process.
Despite the fact that Archelaos is quite good at ops attacking, Catastrophe manages to sniff out the stock with an F smash and evens the game back up.
Wow, and Archer's ready.
Although Catastrophe was no stranger to the OnlyNoobs community, she hadn't been entering too much. She had more so been entering online events as well as in-person locals that were outside of the OnlyNoobs community. So there was kind of this fan favorite dynamic of Archelaos, the longtime entrant, the hometown hero, versus Catastrophe, who was this sometimes present, sometimes not Marth who had been training in the shadows. So a very formidable final boss for the local favorite.
Ooh, good snipe. Alright, needed this. So, there's not actually too much to lose. Alright, so we're seeing a lot of DFs. Ooh, that's crazy. That was so risky. What the fuck was that? I almost wonder if like there's a way Cat can grab Liz there.
As we are nearing the end of the second game, it seems like Catastrophe is bringing the game a lot closer than previously with a good combo game and effective punishes. However, Archelaus is proving to be a menace.
After, oh my god, do we want to look? How many OnlyNoobs was that? 68 OnlyNoobs, holy shit. GG to Archelaus.
Since OnlyNoobs, Archelaus entered a few tournaments on a trip to Japan as well as Gammel, but he does seem to be softly retired. Nevertheless, he's clearly left a mark on the OnlyNoobs community. For our next segment, we have Peach versus the Game & Watch player Jimmy John, a longtime entrant. So Peach had entered 3 times as a Fox, Falco, Marth, kind of mixed bag, but Jimmy John had entered 30 times. Both players had gotten pretty good placements. 2nd place from Jimmy John, 5th place from Peach. And so both players were very capable, very strong, and we're going to see that in this grand finals.
Alright, and they're off.
Unlike in the previous set where Catastrophe and Archelaus were both pretty well known and well regarded by the community, in this set Peach was definitely more of the outsider. He wasn't much of a chatter, wasn't much of a regular in the tournament yet, while Jimmy John was the long time, pretty much the Game & Watch in the server, if we're being honest. We had a few others like Rogue and Brandeis, but Jimmy John was the one who always had the phenomenal results in the tournament. And so, certainly a bit more of a fan favorite, was a regular chatter in the only chat in the Discord, but at the same time, Peach, even if not as well known by the community, was a really strong player who I had struggled with, who a lot of people I know struggled with, and so this wasn't an easy draw. In Game 2, we get a character switch from Peach, something very scary to do, something scary to go for when you're down 1-0 in a grand final set, but thanks to Jimmy John's SD, the game is staying even.
Plot armor. What was that shield grab? How does he just bounce that way instead?
Unlike Jimmy John, Peach had a sparse yet long-standing tournament history, starting in 2015. That being said, like I said, they're very sparse, maybe 1 or 2 a year. And this online era of Peach's Melee career was showing a lot more attendance as well as really much better results. By the time Peach had entered a few of these brackets, you know, we all started seeing this definitely a very real threat.
Jimmy handling the lasers pretty well. That's it. Yep, Mana won't save you, and we have 50%. 50% is like low to death percentage stuff again. Oh, we're picking 3. Congratulations when he wins.
Even though Peach won Game 2 with Falco, we're seeing the Fox Game 3, potentially a product of either not feeling as confident with Falco as assumed, or it could also be a product of the Dreamland stage choice. We're going to be seeing a lot of lasers out of Peach this game, so it might just be a willingness to play that patient style on this larger stage.
Really? I would like you to answer against Psycho Walker. If you want. Yeah, what is this? What's going on? Oh! Oh! he's oiling up.
Compared to Peach's very sporadic entrances, Jimmy John was a frequent online tournament entrant during what I'll call the quote-unquote golden age of noob tournaments. That's obviously very subjective, very disputable, but it's when we had OnlyNoobs, Tired of O2, Legs Lud Tournament, Level 1 Melee, I think even Scrub Summit, maybe a few other tournaments at the same time that were for noobs. And nowadays people kind of meme about the decline of online tournaments, if we're being real. I mean, Toph has a video called Smash Online is Dead. But with all that being said, during this time period, Jimmy John had won a Scrub Summit, won a Tired O2, and had gotten PR in the Legs Lud Tournament series. So after some really good results, Jimmy John wanted to finally get that W.
Jimmy John has fucking done it.
So for number 8, I would say this is a set that's less of a fan favorite. It's more about the flashiness and back and forth of the set. So we have Oxenheimer versus Space Goop, two spacey players who entered left and right, both in OnlyNoobs, but also in online brackets around OnlyNoobs 158 in general. So Oxenheimer entered 13 times, while Space Goop entered 30. Both players kind of having a presence, no doubt. Both also got second place, and so it was ultimately, in my mind, a battle of equals between two spacey mains, and although Oxenheimer was up 2-0, I certainly wouldn't count Space Goop out.
I have like a melee pipeline, but truly Sahara has the pipeline. No one with her platform is so just like in love with melee. It's kind of beautiful.
In game 1, Space Goop puts his Falco combo game to the test, taking the first stock and drawing the first blood to give him a little lead in this set.
Yeah, just a reminder, there are creeps, and very weird. Alright, yeah, I guess we should talk about the game.
As I had said, Space Goop was a mega online tournament grinder. He had gotten multiple top 8s in online tournaments the weeks prior to this set, as well as a few tournament Ws over players like Gazo Cartnight Eyes and Gubo, who had gotten top 8s or even won OnlyNoobs prior.
Okay. Okay, beautiful combo. Starting backwards, but kind of did a bit of a walk up there. No jump? Okay.
Nearing the end of the match, Space Goop ends up holding his lead until Oxenheimer's last stock. That being said, Oxenheimer still has the opportunity to bring it back.
Not making it particularly easy, that up B was a bit predictable. Having people I know online, I just have met. Yeah. Okay, so meeting people IRL that you've only known from online is like universally like a weirdly engaging. I should talk about the game. Nice back air, up tilt. Okay, so what I was saying was, like, and it's exciting.
Oxenheimer opts for a Yoshi's Story counter pick, potentially to try to limit Space Goop's lasers while also enhancing his own combo game, but we'll see how this dicey choice turns out.
Okay, so opting to go small here. However, this might be backfiring the way Space Goop is using these back airs. Yeah, I really appreciate how
Space Goop once again takes a lead on the first stock. Looking a little rough for Oxenheimer, who's been down pretty much this entire set, but his punishes are effective enough that he can bring it back easily.
Okay, I love this corner pressure. Okay. So I mean, a lot of that don't leave much room for counterplay. Oxenheimer wasn't even developing much of a game plan against this. Okay, gives it the ledge, that's totally fine.
In a really terrible position, down 3 stocks to 1, Oxenheimer is going to have to bring this back. That being said, he gets a juicy up tilt back air up smash to take out that stock, and is going to keep it moving.
Alright, a little bit of a read there. And now we're actually having a ton of momentum. still by what I would call the human wall. Huge opportunity. What is this combo? Is this how Oxenheimer's gonna bring it back? Okay, catches another back air. Yeah, so the spacing on these up tilts and back air are from my— no way! The Shark Guy really fucked that up? If Space Scoop can make this happen, I'm gonna— this is so close. This is gonna be an insane comeback. Refusing to die. Really bad ledge dashes.
Somehow, against all the odds, Oxenheimer takes a comeback from 3 stocks to 1 and sends us to game 3.
Oxenheimer held shield for the right amount of time. Rolled a little bit later than I think Space was expecting, and just like recognized that up smash can win it.
When I asked Oxenheimer about this set, I was told, I remember being really nervous. I was really uncomfortable versus Falco at the time. He was also the first Spacey I faced in the entire bracket. My main thought process was just taking it 1 stock at a time.
Ability to do a good ledge dash, right? Like your options are way more limited when you're not gonna get invincibility off these ledge dashes. And so finding a way to win was that they did.
We're seeing the game falling into Oxenheimer's favor with 4 stocks to 2 at this point. That being said, Space Coop is chipping away at that lead and trying to bring it back.
Wow, beautiful recovery there. But if any player slide off, I think we're going to see a huge blowout. Yeah, I like the defensive play of both these players. That was a risky double jump to ledge. Still makes it. Are these players even names? I don't know. We should ban one of them. Wow, was that a wiggle out down smash? Alright, Oxenheimer pull off. Truly like one of the craziest comebacks I've ever seen.
With Space Coop taking game 1 and Oxenheimer cinching barely game 2, we're seeing a last stock scenario. And at this point, it could really go either way.
And Ox finds it, and we get to quit out. Truly, to go from this spot.
For the final set of this video at number 7, we have King Poyo versus SRM13. So King Poyo was a Kirby player who entered 48 times up to this point, starting at OnlyNoobs 101, while SRM was a player who only entered 15 times, but entered beginning at the 33rd OnlyNoobs. So, both players had a marked legacy within this tournament. SRM had won their only ever set. However, King Poyo had gotten 3rd, while SRM had only gotten 4th. In recent placements, King Poyo got 5th, while SRM got 9th. So, although the edge in terms of the head-to-head was with SRM, King Poyo had had the results and longevity to show he was far from a weak opponent.
King Poyo. Maybe that.
King Poyo takes the first stock, but SRM evens it back up. It's going to be a bit of a long-winded match, as you can imagine from Kirby Puff. That being said, when you play Kirby or Jigglypuff, you're ready for that battle.
Wow, that was like a perfect what the fuck? That was so much for just 23 damage off the light shield.
Now, it's worth acknowledging that Kirby had never actually won OnlyNoobs. Jigglypuff, there had been many. Kirby, there had been representation from a player named Chris Meister, also known as Mirthsphere, who had gotten top 8 on multiple occasions, but by the time he retired from activity, he hadn't actually won, and so we never saw a Kirby win this tournament. Because of this, we all wanted to see that King Poyo dub.
Character and like, on paper, yeah.
The two floaty players continue trading stocks in this war of attrition, as we near the end of the first game.
Last stock game 1, and then like game 2's a blowout. It's like 14%. Like, stuff like that makes me nervous, right? Anti-SRM propaganda detected. I don't know, like
SRM wiggles out of King Poyo's grab, but immediately eats an F tilt that ends the game. We go into game 2 with a Dreamland counterpick from SRM, and you immediately see that big stage coming into play with the war of spacing occurring. Both players just kind of add a little percent to each other, but as we jump ahead, King Poyo ends up on the back foot.
alright, still no lead. Oh wow, it goes low. The Kirby goes high, you go low, yeah.
SRM draws first blood by taking King Poyo's stock, which on a Dreamland game against floaties is massive.
Don't go for combos and just win. Yep, do that. Timer, okay, swing it back.
Where King Poyo might be able to cinch a kill on a smaller stage, Dreamland is really proving to be a problem as he can't quite close out these edge guards.
The timer doesn't load in this matchup. You guys know that? In Kirby Pop.
Now, don't believe Cadence, she loves to lie to chat. There is a timer. That being said, with one stock apiece, we're unlikely to go to time.
Back throw? Okay. You don't really know what a Kirby's gonna throw with. That's what started hitting really far now. This is like somewhat even-ish, not really. Okay, great, like an off attack. Oh.
And Kirby cannot come back from that, so we are going to game 3. Now, when I asked King Poyo about this grand finals, he noted some pessimism. I didn't really want to fight either of the people on the other side fighting for Grands, SRM and MacMat, considering their records on me, so I kind of resigned myself to losing in Grands. However, it worked out because I played on fire and I only ever felt more confidence as the set went on. Everything just happened so fast, even if the games weren't.
I'm gonna get grabbed. Oh, edge guard situation. Huge. I mean, it's not as good as it looks, but like when you've never seen it before and it works, you take notice.
Thanks to the smaller stage, King Poyo was able to get an up air kill, which gives him a remarkable lead for the game.
Huge wall. Now King Poyo is kind of pulling ahead here. Is this a gimp? Play the low game and the high game here.
Suddenly, King Poyo finds himself up 3 stocks to 1 in this brutally long set. It's looking like he might be able to finally make history.
History. If you're in chat, type I was here. And King Poyo gets a 3 stock. Everyone dropped that I was here. This has never happened before in 3 years of OnlyNoobs.
To end it off, we'll put King Poyo versus SRM in the good tier of our Grand Finals tier list. Thank you all so much for watching, I really appreciate it. If you like the series, feel free to subscribe to OnlyNoobs Highlights and you'll get updates on the newer episodes. This series will be continuing to wrap up the top 10, so stay tuned. Also remember that OnlyNoobs is every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central with bracket at 7:30 p.m. Central. You can sign up at start.gg/tournament/OnlyNoobs if you're a newer player and want to try it out.